Well, folks, it all comes down to this. After a long 2023 disc golf season, the final round of the DGPT Tour Championships is today. And now it's Tournament Central time. Brian Earhart, Nate Perkins, we are previewing the action for you. Nate, we just watched Ricky Wysocki blow our minds yesterday. Even par through the front 7, 10 down after hole number 8. This is our front runner, and right now he is the favorite to win this. Talk about Ricky and talk about his chances today. What is he going to have to do?
I mean, that was the best stretch of golf all year, probably the best stretch in many years. Brian, 10 down on an 11-hole stretch is just mind-boggling. And, you know, Ricky, it seems like every time that Ricky is at the top of his game like this, like he's always kind of pushed. He redefined what you needed to do from circle 2. Like, he's always kind of pushed the game a little bit. Always kind of, him and Paul were kind of changing the game of disc golf. I mean, it wasn't like they were just playing the game well. Like, they both, like, I feel like Paul kind of redefined what you needed to do off the tee and how you needed to shape a driver. Ricky redefined how to putt from 50 feet with a nose down putt. I mean, there's so many people that wouldn't be putting like the way they do now if it wasn't for Ricky Wysocki in that stretch from, what, 2013 to 2016 to 2017 after he won his last title. Ricky is contributing to his legacy with that round yesterday. I think he only needs like a 5 down to win today.
Nate, we can talk about Ricky and Paul, actually. I think it's very fascinating what the two of them have done over all these years. I mean, these guys have been at this since they were kids, and they developed this insane rivalry that was just watched so closely for so long before anybody started coming up to challenge them consistently. There were times when I thought disc golf was solved. When Ricky was throwing primarily forehand, I believe in 2016, and he was knocking everything down from 70 feet and in, I thought disc golf was over for me. I thought that was it. I mean, players were starting to throw more forehands because of what he was doing. I mean, yes, him and Paul both have contributed, but this is Ricky's individual contribution. We're seeing this year, especially Circle 2 putting, reaching ridiculous heights because of what he did. I mean, alongside of Paul McBeth, to raise the bar and raise the standard. It's no longer just okay to make all of your Circle 1 putts. You have to knock down some longer putts as well. Ricky has been doing that this week. We talked to him after his phenomenal 10 under par effort. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
I knew I was onto something out here this week when I was getting a lot of birdies the first 2 days. I got 10 plus birdies the first 2 rounds, both the first 2 rounds. So I knew it was very possible for me to go extremely low. I feel comfortable with a lot of these gaps out here, and I punctured a lot of the gaps on the right angles, and good things happen. And I made a lot of circle's edge putts for birdie, and I really struggled a lot in the beginning. That was I just had some bad breaks, but that's Nevin, and that's why you got to keep fighting. You never know what can happen. There's a lot going on here. There's so many variables with slopes and offset trees and rollaway potential. I mean, you got to be cautious of every little thing, because as soon as you lose focus for that little bit, you're getting a tree kick into a spot where you may be lucky to get a double bogey. So luckily I was able to avoid those spots today, and I'm very thankful for that. And I just wanted to come out here and play a good round. I'm super thankful I did that, because it makes the, I'm not going to say easy, but easier going down the stretch tomorrow. I definitely knew I had to pick it up. I was looking to shoot, anything 5, 6 under was what I was going for, and obviously I got, I think, 6 in a row at one point, so I was able to string a bunch of birdies together. I think 10 out of the last 11 holes, and that's one of the best rounds I've played in a long time, that's for sure, just because of how challenging this course is. And I'm just a lot of confidence going into tomorrow. I'm not going to let up. I can't let up. I still got to play aggressive. There's still have a whole round left, and Nevin can flip real quick. I'm hoping I can keep the good momentum going. But like I said, it's there's bad breaks, bad kicks right around the corner if you let it happen. And so I just got to keep smooth sailing.
Well, Nate, we talk so highly of Ricky Wysocki, we have for the past decade, but this year he has a hype man in Fern on the bag that we have to talk about. This guy. I mean, this guy convinced Ricky to put different slots of disc in his bag, and it's paid off tremendously. I mean, these two are working together just phenomenally well, and it's just wonderful to see Ricky hit a big putt and then to look behind him and see Fern just absolutely fired up for him. I mean, he's one of the first guys. I mean, in Ari, he had pretty much the first time tour manager for him that drove him around the country and took care of a lot of the stuff that a professional disc golfer doesn't want to deal with. And now this year he has Fern on the bag. And talk about that dynamic, Nate.
Well, I think a lot of people at home, they understand that we're playing all over the country, but until you've done the disc golf tour, like, you don't really have a grasp of how much of a grind it is. I mean, we're talking 30 to 40,000 miles across the United States just to get to all of these events. Ricky's been doing that over a decade. That weighs on you mentally, it weighs on the body. Ricky, to me, went full baller mode when he hired a driver, someone to hustle this for him, and a caddy in Ari. And now, you know, he adopted Fern. Like, Fern is on the road for him full-time, driving for him. That takes a lot of weight off Rick. It gives him freedom when he's traveling across the country, and he also has someone that he can lean on. Like, they talk strategy. Like you said, Fern got him to put that Explorer in the bag. He used that on 4 of the birdies yesterday. Like, that to me says a lot about the trust that Ricky has in Fern, and I don't think players really have taken the caddy as serious as the caddy.
Yes.
To me, from my perspective, looking at the caddy, like, that's a big deal. Like, and there's different types of caddies, right? There's a caddy that can just, put the bag on and don't say a word, and you're just the mule, right? And then there's the caddy that you're talking shots. And when you're out of position, you're talking about what number you're going for, how you're going to do it, and you're talking practice rounds, you're talking every single disc, what looked better, like where you're at mentally and everything, and that's Fern for Ricky.
Yeah.
So I think that, it kind of goes under the radar. We don't ever talk to Fern, interview him, but it seems like it's going a long way today. And Fern also dropped a little bit of information on us, Brian. He said that Ricky's actually dealing with something physically, but Ricky, being the man that he is, he's kind of keeping that under the rug rather, and not telling us, and wouldn't have even known watching him rip the disc yesterday.
He's got one more round. It's all adrenaline at this point. Who cares what any of these players are dealing with? It's a 1-round sprint to $40,000, and with that, Kyle Klein is chasing down Ricky Wysocki. He's still a little bit behind him, a few strokes off at 7 under par, but 7 is a really solid round. Nate, we both said that 7 might not have even gotten beat.
Yep.
And now he's 3 strokes behind. What is Kyle Klein going to have to do?
There's not much you can do if Ricky shoots another 10, but that is likely not going to happen again. It's putts like that. That right there, that was a distance putt on hole 2 for par. That kind of set the tone for Kyle's round right there. I mean, he made 6 or 7 putts from deep C1 and shallow C2. And he also caught fire in the middle of his round, Brian. 5 through 10, it's a significant stretch right there. And if we look at Rick's round, that's getting 4 strokes on Ricky on holes 5, 6, and 7 right there. So Kyle could catch fire at this course too. He could also go double digits. He hasn't quite had a complete round yet.
Well, Nate, it's interesting to see Kyle get the birdies on the holes that Ricky didn't, and then Ricky getting a lot of the birdies that Kyle didn't on that back 9. I think personally the back 9 is the most important. It's easier to grab birdies consistently in the front. We've seen players just get absolutely demolished on the back, so Kyle's going to have to clean that up today if he wants to even come close to taking a shot at Rick, but it is possible. We talked to Kyle after the 7 under. Let's take a listen now.
What's going through your mind when you're 1 over through the first 4 holes?
Not great thoughts, but just trying to get myself back into it. I had just an early release problem the first however many 5, 6 holes, 4, however many holes I parred or bogeyed in a row. Just had coming out of my hand all early. I couldn't get my release down, but once I think I found 1 or 2 birdies on those par 5s back to back, I got my confidence back and started going from there. I feel like for me it's not so much an adjustment. I didn't think I was doing anything differently. I just got the feel and the confidence back up, knowing that I just have to keep throwing how I know how to throw, and that it'll eventually come.
Well, you shot your best round of the week so far, 7 under par. How do you feel about that number overall?
I like it. I like it for today, but I think tomorrow it's going to take definitely a couple strokes better.
Also, now have to talk about Adam Hammes, who's now sitting in third place. He shot a 5-under yesterday. He's 5 strokes off Ricky Wysocki, but again, 5-under is not a bad round. He shot very solid throughout the day and then just had a really rough finish at the end. That doesn't bode well for the finish of this course, or this course in general, and let alone the tournament. What do you think about Adam's chances? I mean, he popped off to 8 under par and set the course record pretty early.
Well, Adam's got great chances. I mean, he also had the tied for the best stretch of holes at this tournament, and he said one of his best stretches all time. So he knows how to birdie every hole. I think there's only 2 holes that he hasn't birdied so far this weekend. He's definitely struggled at the start in all of his rounds, honestly. And the 5 yesterday, honestly, he played better than just on the eye test alone. He seemed to play better on this 5-down round than he did on the 8-down round, and that's because, to me, stringing holes together at Nevin is so impressive. And Brian, how special is this format that Adam was standing on the green of 18, unsure whether or not he was even going to continue forward? Now he has a chance at $40,000. I mean, a normal tournament, if you're Bubble Boy, maybe getting last cash, like, you're not going to turn around and win the tournament the next day. Like, this format is so unique, and it gives us this drama. I mean, Adam almost went home. He was already looking at flights to get back to the deer lease. Now he's here, and Brian, the temperature seems to have dropped. It's cold. It's a different kind of day. Like, it seems like it's getting heavy here in Charlotte.
Well, the wind has picked up, Nate, and it was seeping through the woods this morning for the FPO competitors. And in that moment, you have to make a decision. Is this wind creeping through the trees going to affect my disc? Do I need to change anything?
Yeah.
Do I have to stray away from my preparation? And then you have to make an educated guess, and that makes things even more complicated. Adam talked yesterday after the 5 under par effort. Let's take a listen to that as well.
It's Nevin. I mean, I said it yesterday. Anything can happen here. So, to be 2 over through 5 isn't what I was looking for, and it's hard to find confidence. I mean, once you lose a couple out here early, it's tough to get them back. And then I had a great birdie on 6, and it turned into one of the better stretches I've ever had.
8 in a row,
yeah.
dude. How'd you do that? Like, what was flying good for you? Like,
Emerson was there to keep me calm, and we just kept going through the motions, throwing routine shots, and ended up throwing some really good ones, putting it close, making some nice putts. It was a crazy stretch. It was fun. After the start, to get from 12th to straight back to first in 6 holes is pretty crazy. So great confidence boost, and then it led into a lot more birdies. So yeah.
Talk about the finish, Adam. Holes 17 and 18, they seem to be giving people a lot of trouble. What happened there today?
I think I was just a little too relaxed towards the end here. I didn't have that fire in me to birdie out, which is weird with how great the middle stretch was. But I got a little too comfortable and didn't throw two good shots. I leaked one a little straight on 17, then 18 I was from a knee and just barely sawed off my zone, just barely over the line. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the round. I'm on lead card and in position tomorrow to attack.
AH.
And with that, rounding out the lead card going into this final day of the Tour Championship, Isaac Robinson, 4 under par effort, pretty clean for the most part.
Yep.
Let's just jump right into it. Let's hear what Isaac had to say about the round.
Not too much went wrong. I missed, I think, a couple putts, got a bogey, but overall felt like I played pretty well. So to be 6 strokes back is kind of, Ricky shot an insane round. So, yeah, that's going to try my best tomorrow and kind of see what happens.
It felt like everything was just going his way. I mean, he strung together almost the entire back 9. When someone is just filleting the fairways like that on a course this wooded where anything can happen, do you ever start to compare your round to his? Is it hard to not do that?
Yeah, it's hard not to. I think I started noticing it when my tee shots were just a little bit off and he was just pure in the gaps. It was, I think, hole 12 through 15 was a frustrating stretch for me. Just to see, Ricky just hit every single shot, birdie every single hole, and I'm a little bit off and had to scramble for par and it, in some cases bogey. So, yeah, a little tough to watch sometimes, but that's how it goes. I've had a lot of birdies on this course. I'm just going to try to shoot my best tomorrow. I don't know what it's going to take. 6 strokes back. even if I shoot an 8, it might not, 8 to 10 might not do it, but we'll see. If you're a little bit off, this course can be very dangerous. So we're going to see what happens.
You know what's interesting, Nate? He talked like he was pretty satisfied with 4 under. He didn't feel like he made a lot of mistakes, and I think that is the right mindset to have. He threw the disc pretty well out there, but sometimes you kind of have to bring a gambler's mindset into Nevin. You have to just realize that something's not going to go your way. You're going to throw something out there. If you don't get it back, you have to just try again. And I think Isaac being satisfied with the performance is great.
Yeah, and Brian, there's one other thing that I wanted to add about his round too is I think he's at a slight disadvantage not having the forehand. There's a few moments in the round where he could funnel a flippy mid through there, or he could funnel one of those flippy fairways in there, but the forehand, it's just playing a little bit better. And Ricky is busting it out and he's scoring. And is it a matter of principle, like for Isaac at this point, similar to James? Like, does he just not have that shot? Like, it's hard to argue with him when he's a 2-time major champion this year, but sometimes I feel like he should bust that forehand out.
And I no longer can say that he, quote unquote, doesn't have a forehand. Yeah. I watched him earlier in the week pop some huge flex sidearms with lots of speed and a really clean release. I no longer can say that it's not there.
Okay.
I think it's a comfort thing. I think it's a chooser's paradox. Like, he knows that the backhand is the special weapon that he's had since he was a kid. Is the forehand really the option he wants to choose? He can break it out, and he will break it out when it's necessary, but he's a backhand thrower. With that said, we're going to take a quick commercial break here on the Disc Golf Network. On the other side, lots more to talk about, folks. We'll see you soon.
Feeling great starts with a great shave. Today, the world is in the palm of your hand. Or at least this can is. For over 100 years, Barbasol. It's a can of can-do.
Hello, we're Kenna. We're a Dutch growing company. We love plants, and we want to tell you some cool things about them. Just like humans, plants can communicate. They can sense when another plant is close. Plants look out for each other too. They warn neighbors about nearby threats by secreting substances. And studies have shown that plants love a good tune. We love and understand plants. Let our passion excite you too.
Repetitive stress injuries are one of the most common reasons that disc golfers have to take time off from playing the sport they love. With the average disc golf bag weighing up to 25 pounds, this can add up to over 2,000 pounds of accumulated stress on your body during a single round. A cart gives you the ability to bring what you need on the course without the repetitive heavy lifting. This reduces the number of stress points you experience during a round, keeping you at your best.
Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Down.
You can catch more pro disc golf coverage here on the Disc Golf Network. Don't miss exciting off-season content like Jomez Pro's off-season videos and shows, which you can see before they hit YouTube, and a new show, Catch, on Jomez Pro, hosted by yours truly, Brian Earhart. Much more off-season content to come. Wrap up this 2023 season and still watch lots of disc golf content here on the Disc Golf Network. I'm joined here now by Disc Golf Pro Tour's Jeff Spring.
Hey, Brian.
Jeff, it's been a wonderful season. It's been a long season in 2023. Let's just give us a recap from your perspective.
Well, really growth, more continued growth. Our purse went way up, and in fact, we paid out over $2.5 million, which is a new high, and 1.4 million added cash. So big shout out to all the event teams, all of our partners out there, all of our sponsors that made that possible. But the message is that, we keep going up, and we're on to bigger and better things in 2024.
Well, let's talk about 2024. The schedule for next year is slimmed down, but it sounds like there's a lot of really exciting things in the pipeline. Can you at least enlighten us on a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we took away the silver events for 2024. We're really just focusing on our best, biggest events and debuting a new qualifying series that will be for not only events to qualify to get up onto the tour in the future, but also a route for players, like a farm system in order to make it to the big leagues, so to speak. Next week, we're excited to announce our European plans, which I think will have a lot of people talking and a lot of bright future for the European continent in terms of professional disc golf.
Disc golf on all levels continues to grow, especially at the professional level. With that said, a man who has incredible success at the professional level, Joel Freeman, also here in the finals. Let's hear what Joel had to say after his round yesterday.
I didn't feel too much pressure. Could be because I was on the third card. Could be just because no one would expect me to win necessarily. Not that I don't have the potential to, but I'm by no means the favorite, so I didn't feel much pressure. Yeah, I was on the struggle bus today. Started great with 2 super smooth birdies, and yeah, just a couple subtle mistakes on 3 and 4, and then a little unfortunate OB stroke on 6. Just little by little, just started to kind of unravel. Hit, I think, 5 putts off the band today, so the putter was almost working really well. Ricky shredding today. It's an impressive round for him. He's a guy who always, claims to bring it when it counts, and so he's proven that today. Yeah, it's gonna take something really special for me tomorrow to take it down, and probably a little help from the other guys.
Joel Freeman is a winner. Joel Freeman is an extremely solid player. He shot a 3 under par yesterday, but he joins a roster of winners in this final round. Every single one of the competitors today is hungry and knows how to close out a big tournament. We watched Joel shoot one of the best rounds that we've ever seen when he shot the 14 under at North Boundary. Unbelievable stuff. And Joel has just continued to put up highlights out here. He loves this course. 7 strokes, is that too much, Nate?
He would need help. It depends on what Ricky shoots. I mean, the thing is, Ricky went 10 yesterday, but Ricky could get off his line early. He could shoot even, and then at that point, it's not too much. But of course, Joel's going to have to he's going to have to recreate the magic that he did at Winthrop. He's going to have to recreate the magic he did in Pennsylvania. I mean, it seemed for a bit like Joel was going to be a U.S. champion. I mean, that's not the first time that it seems like he had a major championship in his sights. Yesterday, he seemed a little deflated after the round. I mean, he was just completely dissatisfied with the 3, and how could you not be when you're 7 back? But I mean, Joel has all the shots. He's definitely one of the better wooded players that we have. I feel like he's more of the wood specialist, and he's throwing some really nasty flex lines on holes that it doesn't even seem like the fairway's wide enough to really yank over on something, but he still does. It's he's kind of has to with the way that his setup is, with his form, the way that he leans back into the shots.
He's a flex player.
He's a flex guy at this point, and I love the style. He's throwing the Thunderbird really great. He's throwing those gators. He has this gator that's 6 years old that he's throwing on some flip up shots. And another guy that we got to talk about, Calvin Heimburg. I mean, you could tell Calvin was bringing the heat yesterday, and Nevin was just not nice to him.
We thought he was going to win. We thought going into this day, he was the guy to beat. And then, like you said, you go into Nevin with a gambler's mindset. Sometimes you lose those gambles, and it seemed like he was so close to brilliance, and it just couldn't quite happen for him. What do you make of the score here? It kind of deflated later in the round.
I mean, especially the way that he started. Nearly hits metal on a hole that it's hard to even just get to circle's edge short, and he's flying the eagle through. Then a 110-footer here on the second. It's okay, he's got the magic on his side. He's going to start throwing it in like D-Glow this year, Brian, where he had those back-to-back eagles. 2 down through 2, 3 down through 4. Look at this shot. This is just a towering Anheuser, way out of position. That's 50 feet back of where Nicholas threw it in last year. That is just nasty. I mean, not a lot of people are throwing that, getting up and down from where he was at. Then here he is on the par 4, number 4. way out of position there too. Gets the up and down. I mean, he was dialed. It's just Nevin's nasty, and he got off his line a bit on the back 9.
You know, he was telling me actually, Nate, we stepped up to the tee of 15. He changed his game plan. He went with a turnover mid-range, and I asked him through up the fair, as we walked up the fairway, I said, so many more players are throwing this turnover mid-range that I feel like we, in years past, saw players go hyzer flip up that right side.
Yep.
And he said, you know what, Brian, that still in my mind is a great play. I'm not confident in my gap hitting right now, and that's exactly what he said. He's going to try to make every gap as big as possible, and it got him a great birdie on 15, but some of these holes you can't escape. I mean, we look at hole number 14, for example. What alternative route can you even take there, Nate?
I mean, if that's not a good sentence to have in your mind, or if it has any resemblance of truth, Brian, you have to be the best gap hitter in the world if you want to get through this course even par. And you have to hit gaps with late control of your discs if you want to score. Like, Ricky is a good gap hitter right now, and there's no chance that he's going to tell us otherwise.
Well, a hole that pretty much exemplifies exactly what you're talking about is hole number 13. I feel like the players are forced to throw that late flip fairway driver. Talk us through this hole. 630 feet. That distance does not even do the hole justice whatsoever.
No, this is a monster par 4. When you're standing on the tee, it seems obvious where the landing zone at, but it's probably the first false landing zone that I can really recall, because it's not right around the corner. It's not a forehand, Brian. You have to throw that backhand that's up to speed. Most players are throwing driver that's drifting. There's the false landing zone right there, but where the light is, that's the true landing zone. That right there is a 415-foot shot through a 12-foot, 15-foot wide tunnel, and then you're not done. It's more of a scramble to the green right here. You have like a 6-foot gap on the left and a 14-foot gap on the right. It's downhill with some late trees in there. This is probably the most challenging par 4 on the back 9 as far as the birdie. We're not seeing a lot of big numbers there, but just as far as the pure skill required off the tee to put yourself into position, it's high level.
And with that, hole number 13 joins 17 other treacherous holes out here at Nevin. The season is wrapping, our final round of the 2023 Disc Golf Pro Tour season. It's upon us now. Can Ricky Wysocki close? We'll find out soon. We're going to throw it down to the ground right now. We'll see you soon, folks.
We are the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We exist not just in the throws and the putts, but in the hearts of those who make it possible. We are a story. Behind every disc thrown, there is a team. Professionals bound by respect, care, and a shared passion. We work tirelessly to create disc golf's grandest stages at the world's premier venues. Together with volunteers and fans, we form a community that not only shares the love of disc golf, but enriches lives beyond the game. It's our goal to continually evolve professional rules, benchmarks, and experiences to ensure the highest level of play. Every competition and every throw is an invitation to a world-class experience. This is who we are. This is our story. Welcome to the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Join the Paul Macbeth Foundation's Builders Club to help bring sustainable disc golf experiences to people and communities around the world. For a small monthly donation, you can help us make a real impact. Your donation will go directly to making a difference. By becoming a monthly subscriber, you'll also receive exclusive updates on our work, special offers and discounts. So join us today and make a difference with the Paul Macbeth Foundation. Together we can make a big impact, one small donation at a time.